if Pennsylvania goes to Trump, it's over. I mean, he's going to win in a landslide. President Trump has a really good relationship with Prime Minister Modi. They're both very business savvy. They're both very pro-business. I think they could grow the world economy together. I think India is going to have the third largest GDP in the world. The problem with Harris, once again, is we don't come from a strength position. We come from a weakness position. We're afraid to pick sides. We're afraid to make China angry.
It's election day here. What are you picking up from the voters and people from your party?
A lot of excitement. Georgia's going to go red. I'm positive of that. I think he wins by at least 2 points here in Georgia. At the very latest, it'll be 3 a.m. by the time we know for sure. But I think it's going to be called a little bit earlier. I think if you look at the highest turnouts for the early voting, all in conservative districts, the highest one was, I think, the 14th. Mine was second. We were over 100% already by the end of early voting. We'll be in record territory as of today. If you look at the lowest turnouts, it's some places like Hank Johnson's in the 5th. All the momentum's in Georgia is on the Republican side. I think if you look nationwide, if Kamala has a road to victory, is a very narrow road, and she'd win by about at 273 electoral votes. But I think that's a far cry from reality. I think she's going to get beat soundly. I think we'll be having a good night tonight.
Great. You talked about early voting, something that the Republicans haven't traditionally done. Talk to us about why you see this in this election cycle particularly, and where has this push really come from?
Well, so it's a losing strategy to wait. First of all, you don't know what's going to happen on election day. Secondly, if you can see who all's voted by the end of early voting, which you have almost a month worth of early voting, then you can actually target all your advertising, all your efforts to get people out to vote to those select people left. And in our case, it's less than 50%. It cuts in half the number of people you have to worry about. It's much better. You don't have to wait in line. But mostly, Reagan made a video on this way back in the 70s when you only had 1 day to vote. He said, at the end of the day, when it's getting close to the end of the day, you have a couple hours left, go down to your precinct, find out who hasn't voted in your precinct, and then go to their house and get them out to vote. That's an age-old tested theory. It's worked. Early voting makes it that much easier to do that.
Right. Now, polls open at 7 a.m. here and they close at 8 p.m. What are you watching for as returns start to come in, slowly and steadily?
I think all the congressional districts will be called fairly early, probably by 8:30, quite frankly, because none of them are very close. You could say that Stanford Bishop probably has the most competitive race, but I think they'll be called quickly. I think the presidential race will be a little bit more drawn out, but like I said, I think that'll be called by midnight, but at the latest by 3. But I'm seeing that most people are very happy with the voting process. It's not crowded. There's a high turnout, but because all the early voting, it's easy to do. There's been a couple complaints about things that they thought were bad with the Dominion or the county or whatever like that, but not widespread. I think it's going to be just a good experience for most people, and I'm excited about the outcome.
Let's now talk about the swing states. So much has been said about it. What do you foresee? And do you foresee purple in any of these states? Any state in particular that you think that could impact, could inject like red, or simply to put it, just Republicans?
Yeah. So if Pennsylvania goes to Trump, it's over. I mean, he's going to win in a landslide. I think Michigan, same. Either one of those states goes to Trump, he's going to win because he's going to win Georgia. North Carolina is a little bit more questionable, but I think he's going to win there too. Wisconsin may go Democrat. Nevada may go Democrat. Arizona will probably go Republican. So it looks like a lot easier pathway to Trump on those swing states. But if you look at the Rust Belt, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, the odds are truly in Trump's favor. But you're talking about 7 states are going to decide this whole thing. Really, maybe 50 counties. 50 counties in America will decide for the 50 states the fate of the union.
Right. Now, everyone has been talking about the Iowa polls that just came in. Does that concern you as a Republican? Do you remain optimistic? And can the Democrats really get a lead there. Could Iowa be the presidential contest, the decider, or would the contest be really close there?
I guarantee you, you heard it here first. Guarantee you, I will go Republican. I don't believe those pollsters should be fired. I think it's just a way to raise money, because if you get polls, you got to get more polls, and if you have close polling, you got to put a bunch of money in there. And I think it's ridiculous to think that Iowa's in play. The governor's done a great job. Republican governor's done a great job. And I think there's nobody there that's unhappy with the way that the conservative movement is going. So I don't see Iowa in play. I just think that's ridiculous. Yeah, of course, I didn't see Georgia in play either in 2020. So anything can happen, I suppose. But I would be particularly surprised if Iowa even got close. I think it'll be at least a 4-point win for Trump. But I'm not really worried about Iowa.
Okay. Let's now talk about the Indian Americans voting this presidential cycle. A group that's very close to you in terms of your constituency. You've been working for them for quite some time now. How do you read their mind, and what do you think? How could they be voting this election cycle?
Which demographic is that?
The Indian Americans.
Oh, yeah. We have one of the largest Indian diaspora constituencies in America at 14%. It's over 100,000. And I think if you look, traditionally, they voted Democrat because they came over during the Clinton era. Clinton was a Democrat, and they related to Clinton. But if you look at the efforts of the legislation that actually benefits them, and what the Democrats have done to discriminate against them in California, trying to put in the caste system and saying that they can't get into schools because they're too successful with the whole DEI idea. If you look at taxation and regulation, which overwhelmingly is against them because they are the business owners. They are the wealthiest and most successful demographic in America that are punished by Democrats and their DEI policies that basically punish any sort of success. I think they're coming over to the conservative side. They're natural conservatives. Morally speaking, they believe in the family unit. They believe in education choice. They believe in business and business opportunities. They believe in less regulation, less taxation, because that's what benefits their ability to create profit and create jobs and create prosperity for their family and for America. I think they're natural conservatives. And I think you're seeing that. I've spent a particularly immense amount of time, because I have such a large Indian constituency, just getting to know them and knowing what their concerns are. And their concerns are universally addressed by what I'm bringing to the table legislatively and what our conservative values are to begin with. So I think it's going to be huge for us. And I think you can tie the Korean diaspora in almost exactly the same way. Similarly, very hardworking, coming here for the American dream, not coming here with much, but knowing that this place is special because of the conservative nature of the government that protects our individual rights and our ability to succeed in America.
Right. And finally, if the results, play out around 3 a.m. this tonight, talk to us about what President Trump would mean for the India-U.S. relationship versus that of Kamala Harris.
So President Trump has a really good relationship with Prime Minister Modi, and Prime Minister Modi is going to be around for a while. They're both very business savvy. They're both very pro-business. I think they could grow the world economy together. I think India is going to have the third largest GDP in the world within the next 5 years. That plays well to our trade. That plays well to what standards we have, how we view the world. India is a great ally, a strategic ally in that region. They're basically at war with China in the Arunachal region. They need somebody on their side to help them with arms, with technology, with trade. We need each other. I think having the oldest and the largest democracies on the same team bodes well for us. The problem with Harris, once again, is we don't come from a strength position. We come from a weakness position. We're afraid to pick sides. We're afraid to make China angry. We're afraid to protect the rights of Indian diaspora who want to succeed, who want to be accepted in schools, who don't want to be overtaxed or regulated, so they'll never make it up to the level of other business owners who are already at that billionaire mark. Yeah, you may make $1 million, but you'll never make it to the billion mark because Harris will make sure that you are taxed and regulated into oblivion. You'll never be competitive. And so there's a big difference that people should be paying attention, not only if you're living in India, but if you're living here in America and you're from India.
All right. Your closing thoughts, please.
I'm sorry?
Your closing thoughts. What do you have to say about tonight?
Yeah, I think tonight's going to be a good win. I'm praying that we maintain the House majority. I think that's really key to the legislative efforts moving forward, to the minutia, the small things in government that make things work well. We're almost certainly going to take the Senate. And I have big thoughts for the presidency. I think the only three options are either Trump by a landslide, Trump by a little bit, or Kamala by a very small margin. The most electorates I think she could possibly win would be 273. I think that's a far cry from reality. I think it's going to be a big night for Republicans. Then the question is, what do we do when we get the majority? We have a choice to get something done, because we only have a couple of years to do it, because people are generally unhappy with a majority government. And so usually you lose the House control. We'll probably lose the Senate control if we win all three. And so we'll have our challenges. So we got to take advantage of these 2 years to get done as much as possible to make sure that we right the ship and protect America.